The human war zone was living hell. One alien witness reveals all. Vren Thalor had never wanted this assignment. As a Lyrath observer, his job was to watch and record, never to interfere. The Galactic Concord paid well for neutral eyes on difficult battlefields. Kalis 4 was the worst one yet. 7 years of war had turned a green mining world into gray ash and endless craters. Humans refused to leave. The Concord refused to stop pushing. Everyone else suffered. Vren's small transport dropped him at the edge of Sector 7 just before dawn. He activated his personal shroud field. It bent light around his feathered body, so no scanner or eye could find him. His recorder drone floated silently beside him, a smooth silver sphere no bigger than his fist. It captured everything in high detail: sight, sound, even heat and vibration. He moved carefully through what used to be a human village. Now only broken walls and burned-out vehicles remained. Smoke hung thick in the air. The smell of burned metal and something worse filled his breathing slits. He found a good vantage point behind a collapsed grain silo and settled in to watch. Private Daniel Carter moved first that morning. He was 23, tall and thin, with dark hair matted under his helmet. He came from a place called Ohio on Earth. His squad had been cut to 8 people. They held a shallow trench that overlooked a dry riverbed the Concord used as an approach route. Daniel checked his rifle. The barrel was scratched and dirty. He wiped it anyway. Next to him crouched Corporal Emily Ruiz. She was 26, shorter, with quick hands and tired brown eyes. She came from California. She carried extra magazines and a small medkit she never let out of reach. "Think they'll hit us before lunch?" Daniel asked in a low voice. Emily scanned the opposite ridge through her scope. "They always do." Concord artillery. Heavy shells screamed overhead and landed behind the human lines. Dirt exploded upward in black fountains. The ground shook. Neither Daniel nor Emily flinched much. They had felt worse. Vren's recorder caught their heart rates, elevated but steady. No panic spikes. In Lyrath training, observers learned that fear curves looked like sharp mountains before a retreat. Human fear looked like a flat, angry line that never dropped. The first Concord wave appeared an hour later. Virene infantry in segmented black armor advanced in tight formation. Behind them rolled 6-legged assault walkers. Their main guns glowed blue as they charged. Human machine guns answered from hidden nests, bright tracer rounds stitched across the riverbed. Virene soldiers dropped. Others stepped over the bodies and kept moving. A plasma bolt hit close to Daniel's position. It vaporized part of the trench wall. Hot dirt rained down on him. Daniel popped up, fired 3 quick shots, dropped back. Emily did the same. They moved like they had done it 1,000 times. Then the order came over their comms. "All units, hold at all costs. No fallback. Reinforcements inbound." No one cheered. No one complained. They just reloaded. Vren zoomed closer. He saw a young human soldier, Private Jake Torres, clutching his leg. Blood soaked his pant leg. A jagged piece of metal stuck out above the knee. Jake tried to stand. He fell. Another soldier, Laura Bennett, crawled over. She was a medic, 29, calm even when shells fell. "Hold still, Jake," she said. "I've got you." She cut away fabric. She packed the wound. Plasma fire snapped overhead. Laura did not look up. She worked fast. When Jake screamed from pain, she put a hand on his shoulder. "Breathe through it. You're going home." Jake nodded, through tears. "Tell my sister. I tried." "You tell her," Laura said, "when you see her." Vren felt strange watching this. On Lyrath worlds, the wounded were carried away only if the line was secure. Risking more lives for one person broke every rule of survival math. Yet here it happened, again and again. The Concord pushed harder. Walkers reached the near bank. Their cannons tore holes in the human defenses. A machine gun nest went quiet. Smoke poured from it. Daniel saw it happen. He grabbed a satchel charge from the trench floor. "Cover me," he told Emily. She nodded. She stood and fired full auto to keep heads down. Daniel ran low and fast. He dodged between craters. A plasma bolt grazed his shoulder. His jacket smoked. He kept going. He reached the wrecked nest, slapped the charge against the side of the lead walker, and rolled away. The explosion flipped the machine onto its back. Its legs kicked once and stopped. Concord troops hesitated. Emily shouted, "Push now!" The remaining humans rose. They charged across open ground. Some fell immediately. Others reached the enemy line. Fighting became close. Rifles, knives, fists. Daniel wrestled a Virine soldier to the ground. He drove his combat knife through a joint in the armor. The alien wet still. Emily fought beside him. She shot one Virine point blank. Another grabbed her from behind. She drove her elbow into its faceplate, twisted, broke free, and fired again. The Concord wave broke. Survivors pulled back across the riverbed. Human cheers were short and hoarse. Most just sat down where they stood, breathing hard. Daniel returned to the trench. His shoulder bled. Emily helped him sit. "You're an idiot," she said. "Worked, didn't it?" She tore open a dressing pack and pressed it to his wound. Neither of them spoke for a while. Vren recorded the quiet moments too. They passed a single cigarette between four people. They checked weapons. They looked at the bodies of friends who did not get up. No one cried loudly. Eyes were red, but hands stayed steady. Afternoon brought more shells. Acid rain started. It hissed when it touched metal. Humans pulled ponchos over their heads and kept watch. Laura moved from wounded to wounded. She ran out of painkillers. She gave water instead. Night came. Flares popped overhead. Orange light painted everything in harsh shadows. Concord tried another push, smaller this time. Human snipers waited. Precise shots dropped officers first. The attack stalled before it reached the trench. Vren sent his daily summary to Concord Command. Sector 7, Day 2187 of conflict. Human defenders maintain cohesion despite 62% casualty rate in observed unit. Immediate counterattacks follow every lost position. Wounded are recovered under fire at high risk. No observable breakdown in morale. Recommend updated threat assessment. In his private notes, he wrote something different. "I thought I came to see a war. I was wrong. This is not war. This is endurance turned into something terrible and unbreakable. The humans live inside the hell they created, and they will not leave." He shut down the recorder for the night. He stayed awake. He listened to the distant thunder of guns. He watched small fires where humans boiled water and heated rations. He wondered how long they could keep going. Somewhere deep in his feathers, a cold feeling grew. He was starting to think the answer was forever. The human war zone was living hell. One alien witness reveals all. Vren Thalor stayed in Sector 7 for another week. Each day felt longer than the last. The sky stayed gray. The rain never stopped completely. The ground turned into thick mud that pulled at boots and wheels alike. Humans moved through it like they were born in it. Corporal Emily Ruiz now led what remained of the squad. Daniel Carter had been carried to the rear on the third night. He lived, but his back wound needed real surgery. Emily did not talk about him much. She just worked harder. She gathered her 6 remaining soldiers at dawn. They sat in a shallow shell hole, covered with a torn tarp. Rain tapped above them. "Listen," Emily said. "Command says hold this ridge another 48 hours. Then maybe relief comes, maybe not. Either way, we stay." Private Laura Bennett nodded. She still wore the same blood-stained gloves from days before. Ammo? Low on everything, Emily answered. 2 full mags per rifle. 3 grenades total. 1 heavy machine gun with half a belt. No one groaned, they just checked what they had. Vren's recorder caught their faces in the dim light. Tired lines, sunken eyes, yet no despair. In his reports, he wrote the same phrase again and again. Human unit cohesion remains intact, despite material depletion. Mid-morning brought the next Concord push. This time, they came with flamethrower teams. Varine soldiers carried long tubes that spat blue fire. The flames burned through mud and metal. They cleared trenches by turning them into ovens. Emily saw the first flame team crest the ridge. She grabbed the last grenade. Flank left, she told 2 soldiers. Draw their attention. The 2 ran low. They fired bursts to pull eyes away. Emily crept right. She waited behind a burned-out vehicle. When the lead flamethrower turned toward the decoy fire, she stood. She threw the grenade hard. It landed at the team's feet. The explosion scattered them. Fuel tanks burst. Fire spread among their own ranks. Screams came, short and sharp, then silence. The humans cheered once, a tired sound. Then they reloaded what little they had. Concord artillery answered. Shells walked straight down the line. One landed close to Emily's position. The blast threw her against a rock. Her helmet cracked. Blood ran from her ear. She shook her head and stood anyway. Keep firing, she shouted. Her voice sounded rough. Laura crawled to her. You're bleeding. Later, Emily said. She picked up her rifle and kept shooting. Vren drifted closer. He saw Emily's hands shake once, only once, then steady. She aimed, she fired, she aimed again. By noon, the Concord had taken half the ridge. Humans fell back to a cluster of ruined bunkers. The bunkers had thick concrete walls and narrow firing slits. Terrible, if the enemy got inside. Emily organized the defense fast. Laura, cover the wounded. Everyone else, 2 to a slit. Conserve rounds. Headshots only. They settled in. Concord troops advanced again. This time slower, more careful. They used smoke to hide movement. Virene scouts probed the bunkers. One scout reached the wall. He tossed a breaching charge. It stuck. Emily saw it. Down. The charge exploded. Concrete cracked. Dust filled the air. A hole opened big enough for 2 soldiers to squeeze through. Virene poured in. Fighting turned brutal. Inside the bunker it was dark and close. Rifles jammed from dust. Knives came out. Fists, elbows, teeth. Emily met the first Virene at the breach. She drove her rifle butt into his faceplate. It cracked. She followed with a knife to the throat joint. The alien fell. Another came. She wrestled him down. He was stronger. He pinned her arm. She bit his armored wrist until he let go. Then she stabbed upward. Laura fought nearby. She had no rifle left. She used a broken pipe. She swung hard. She cracked a Virene helmet. The alien dropped. The breach held. Barely. Humans pushed the invaders back out. They sealed the hole with dead bodies and debris. They braced it with a metal beam. Outside, Concord pulled back again. They needed time to regroup. Inside the bunker, silence fell. Breathing sounded loud. Someone coughed wetly. Emily sat against the wall. Her hands shook now. She looked at her squad. Count off, she said. 5 voices answered. 1 did not. Private Sam Hayes had taken a knife to the side during the melee. He lay still. Laura checked him. She shook her head. Emily closed her eyes for 5 seconds. Then she opened them. Strip his gear. We need every round. No one argued. Afternoon dragged on. Concord tried drones. Small flying machines with bombs. Humans shot them down with rifles. One got through. It exploded against the bunker roof. Rocks fell. Dust choked the air. Emily coughed. She spat blood. She ignored it. Night came. No flares this time. Just darkness and rain. Concord sent sappers, quiet teams with cutting tools. They tried to tunnel under the bunkers. Humans heard the noise. They dropped grenades down the holes. Explosions shook the ground. Screams echoed up from below. Vren watched it all. His recorder never stopped. He sent another report. Day 9 in Sector 7. Human defenders reduced to 5 combat effective. Position under constant assault. Countermeasures improvised from minimal resources. No request for extraction or surrender observed. In private he added, "They are dying slowly, yet they choose every action to delay the end. Not for victory, for spite, for pride, for each other. I fear it." The next morning, Concord brought heavy armor again. A massive siege crawler. It moved on treads wider than a house. Its main gun could level a bunker in one shot. Emily saw it coming. She gathered her people. "Last play," she said. "We hit it from 3 sides. Laura, you stay with the wounded. The rest, follow me." They slipped out through a side tunnel. Rain hid their movement. They crawled through mud. They reached positions close to the crawler. Emily carried the last satchel charge. She waited until the machine passed close. Now, they rose together. They ran. They fired to draw attention. Concord guns turned. 2 humans fell immediately. Emily kept going. She reached the crawler's side. She slapped the charge against a tread joint. She rolled away. The explosion tore the tread apart. The crawler slewed sideways. It crushed its own support troops. It stopped. Humans cheered from the bunkers, but real. Concord infantry rushed in to protect the wreck. Emily's remaining soldiers fought them off as long as they could. Emily took a plasma hit to the leg. She fell. She crawled back toward the bunker. Laura ran out under fire. She grabbed Emily's arm. She dragged her inside. The door sealed behind them. Outside, the siege crawler burned. Concord pulled back once more. Inside, Emily lay on the floor. Her leg smoked. Laura cut away fabric. The wound was deep. "You're staying," Laura said. Emily tried to sit up. "Not yet." Laura pushed her down gently. "Yes, yet." Emily looked at the ceiling. "We held." Laura nodded. "We held." Vren hovered near the bunker wall. His shroud flickered once from strain. He did not care. He recorded the quiet inside. 2 humans left alive and fighting. 1 medic who refused to leave. He whispered to his recorder, though no one would hear. "This is not hell for them. This is home, and they will defend it until nothing moves." He stayed. He watched. He waited for the next day. He knew it would come, and he knew the humans would meet it the same way. The human war zone was living hell. One alien witness reveals all. Vren Thalor followed the human prisoners to the Concord Field Hospital on the edge of Sector 7. His shroud held just enough power for one more day. He needed to see what happened next. The war had not ended for these 4. It had only changed shape. The hospital was a row of large gray tents. Bright lights shone inside. Medics from many species worked there. Virine surgeons, neutral Lyrath techs, even a few human doctors captured earlier who now treated their own under guard. Emily Ruiz was carried in first. She lay on a stretcher. Her face was pale. Sweat covered her forehead despite the cold. Her leg wound looked worse in the light. Black edges, deep infection. She breathed in short gasps. Laura Bennett walked beside the stretcher. Her burned hand hung limp. She refused to be carried. She kept one eye on Emily the whole time. Kate Larson and Carlos Mendoza came last. Both conscious but weak. Kate's arm bled through fresh bandages. Carlos leaned on a guard just to stand. Vren slipped inside the main tent. He found a corner near the ceiling. His recorder drone hovered low. It caught every word. A Vereen doctor approached Emily's bed. Tall, calm, he scanned her leg with a handheld device. Severe plasma necrosis, he said in the common tongue. Amputation above the knee, or systemic failure in 40 hours. Emily opened her eyes. Do it. The doctor paused. You understand? No leg. I understand, Emily said. Save the rest of me. Laura stepped forward. I'll stay with her. The doctor looked at the human medic. You are also wounded. Laura lifted her burned hand. This can wait. The doctor nodded once. He called for assistance. They moved Emily to the surgery area. Screens blocked the view. Vren could still hear. Machines hummed. Voices spoke low. Then, the whine of a bone saw. Emily did not scream. She bit down on a cloth. Her fists clenched. Sweat ran into her eyes. Laura stood at her head. She held Emily's hand. She spoke soft words no one else heard. When it ended, Emily was pale but awake. The stump was wrapped clean. Pain meds flowed through an IV. She looked at Laura. Still here. Laura smiled small. Told you. Kate and Carlos received treatment next. Stitches, blood transfusions, antibiotics. They sat on cots nearby. Guards watched, but did not interfere. A Concord officer entered the tent. He was older. Gray plates on his armor. He carried no weapon. He stopped at Emily's cot. Corporal Ruiz, he said, I am Sub-Commander Vector. You and your unit inflicted heavy losses. Your resistance was notable. Emily met his gaze. We did our job. Vector studied her. Your job cost us 3 elite squads and a siege crawler. For a ridge we now hold. Emily shrugged with one shoulder. Worth it. The officer turned to leave. Then he stopped. Your people fascinate us, he said. We expected collapse weeks ago. You gave none. Emily closed her eyes for a moment. We don't collapse easy. Vector left without another word. Night fell outside. Inside the tent, lights dimmed. Most patients slept. Emily did not. She stared at the ceiling. Pain still came in waves. Drugs dulled it, but did not erase it. Laura sat beside her. You need sleep. Can't, Emily said. Keep thinking about Daniel, about the others. Laura nodded. They'd be proud. Emily swallowed. Hope so. Vren listened. He felt strange. Lirath did not form such bonds in war. Duty ended with survival. These humans carried their dead inside them. They carried the living too. Morning brought change. A message arrived from higher command. Vector returned to the tent. He spoke to the doctors first, then to the humans. The Concord has ordered transfer, he said. You 4 will go to a prisoner facility on Orbit Station Gamma 9. Better care. No more front line. Kate sat up. What about the rest of our people? Vector answered carefully. Other sectors continue. Your sector is quiet now. Emily looked at him. Quiet because we bled for it. The officer did not argue. They prepared the humans for transport. Stretchers, restraints, light sedatives. Vren followed them to the landing pad. A shuttle waited. Engines hummed low. As they loaded Emily, she looked back at the ridge one last time. Smoke still rose from the bunkers. Craters filled with water. Bodies gone, but marks remained. She whispered something. Vren's recorder caught it. Goodbye, Sector 7. The shuttle lifted. It climbed through clouds. Vren could not follow. His shroud died completely. The drone powered down. He stood alone on the pad. Rain fell on his feathers. He activated his final transmission. Observation complete. Sector 7 secured by Concord forces. Human defenders removed from field. 4 survivors transferred for medical and interrogation purposes. Unit displayed extreme resilience until physical limits ended resistance. No psychological surrender observed at any point. He paused. Personal note. I have witnessed hell made real. The humans did not flee it. They lived inside it. They shaped it. They defended it with their bodies until nothing remained to defend. If this is defeat for them, I do not wish to see their victory. He shut down the recorder. Vren walked back toward the Concorde lines. He passed ruined positions. He saw human helmets half buried in mud. A rifle barrel sticking from the ground like a marker. He stopped at one spot, a small cross made from 2 sticks tied together. Someone had scratched names into the wood. Daniel, Sam, others. Vren reached out one feathered hand. He touched the cross lightly. Then he continued walking. Behind him, the war went on in other sectors. Guns still fired. Shells still fell. Humans still held lines. Vren knew one thing clearly now. The hell on Kalis 4 was not made by weapons or fire. It was made by the choice to stay, to fight, to never turn away. And that choice lived in every human who walked these fields, even the ones who no longer could. He boarded a supply shuttle later that day. He left the planet. But the images stayed with him. The sounds, the faces, the unbreakable will. Years later, when others asked about the war, Vren would speak little. But when he did, he always started the same way. I saw hell once. It wore human skin, and it never blinked. The human war zone was living hell. One alien witness reveals all. Vren Thalor left Kalis 4 3 weeks after Sector 7 fell. He returned to the neutral Lirath observation ship orbiting high above the planet. His body felt heavy. His feathers had lost some color. The recorder drone sat silent on his desk. He did not turn it on for days. The war continued below. Other sectors burned. Humans still held pockets of ground. Concorde forces pushed harder. Losses mounted on both sides. Vren watched from the ship's view screens. He no longer needed to be on the surface to feel the weight. Months passed. The Concorde Council grew tired of the slow grind. Kalis 4 cost too much. Resources ran low. Public support on core worlds faded. Quiet talks started in hidden channels. One day, Vren received a sealed message. It came from Sub-Commander Vector, the same officer who had ordered the humans spared at the bunker. The message was short. Observer Thaler, your reports were reviewed. Request your presence at prisoner transfer hearing. Gamma 9 Station. Human survivors from Sector 7. No force. Voluntary attendance. Vren stared at the words. He had not expected to see them again. He accepted. Gamma 9 was a large orbital station. Gray metal rings, bright lights. It served as hospital, prison, and negotiation point. Vren arrived in a small shuttle. He wore plain robes. No recorder this time. He wanted to see with his own eyes. He was led to a quiet observation room. One-way glass looked into a medical ward. 4 beds stood in a row. Clean sheets, soft lights, no restraints. Emily Ruiz sat up in the first bed. Her left leg ended above the knee. A simple prosthetic waited nearby. She wore a loose gray shirt. Her hair was shorter, her face thinner. But her eyes were the same, sharp and steady. Laura Bennett sat beside her. Her burned hand had healed into tight scars. She read from a small screen. She looked up when the door opened. Kate Larson walked slowly across the room. Her arm moved better now. Carlos Mendoza leaned against the wall. His shoulder scar showed under short sleeves. He smiled when he saw the others. A Concorde mediator entered the ward. Neutral species, soft voice. The Concorde offers release, full medical discharge, return to human space. In exchange, signed statement of non-combatant status. No further military service. Emily looked at her people. They nodded one by one. She turned to the mediator. We accept, But we add one condition. The mediator waited. No press conference, no interviews, no propaganda. We go home, quiet. The mediator tilted his head. Agreed. Papers were signed. Hands shaken. They looked small against the tall alien guards, but they stood straight. Vren watched from behind the glass. His heart beat faster. Emily glanced toward the observation window. She could not see him, yet her eyes seemed to find the spot. She gave a small nod. Then she turned away. The shuttle left Gamma 9 later that day. It carried the 4 survivors toward the human border. Vren stayed on the station one more night. He met Vector in a private lounge. The sub-commander stood by a window. Stars moved slowly outside. "You came," Vector said. "I needed to see the end," Vren answered. Vector looked at the stars. They never asked for mercy. Even when we offered it, they took it on their terms. Vren nodded slowly. That is their way. Silence fell between them. Then Vector spoke again. "The war on Kalis 4 will end soon. A treaty is close. Borders redrawn. Mining rights shared. No winner. Just survivors." Vren looked down at his hands. "I saw hell there. I thought it would break them. It did not." Vector turned to face him. "It changed us instead." Vren left the station the next morning. He returned to Lyrath space. He wrote his final report. It was short, honest. Kalis 4 conflict observation complete. Human defenders in Sector 7 displayed extraordinary endurance. Physical limits reached. Mental resolve intact until release. No capitulation, no despair. Recommendation: Concord Doctrine update required. Species capable of sustained combat in extreme deprivation pose unique strategic challenge. He added one private line at the end. "They taught me that hell is not the worst place. The worst place is the moment you decide to leave it." They never made that decision. Years later, Vren lived on a quiet Lyrath colony. He taught young observers. He spoke of many wars. But when students asked about the hardest one, he always told the same story. "I watched 4 humans hold a ridge until their bodies failed. Then I watched them walk away on their own feet. They did not win the ground. They won something bigger. They won the right to say they never bent." The students listened. Some understood, some did not. Vren did not mind. He kept a small hollow image on his desk. It showed the ridge after the fall. Smoke, craters. A single stick cross in the mud. He looked at it every morning. And every morning he remembered. The war zone had been living hell, but the humans had lived in it. They had carried it inside them, and when they left, they took a piece of it with them, not as defeat, as proof. Proof that some things cannot be taken, not by fire, not by steel, not by time. Vren closed his eyes. He saw their faces again. Emily, Laura, Kate, Carlos, Daniel, Sam, all the others. He whispered to the empty room, "Thank you." Then he turned off the light. Outside, stars shone bright. Somewhere far away, on a green world called Earth, 4 people stepped off a shuttle. They walked slowly. They breathed free air. They looked at the sky. Emily Ruiz touched the ground with her prosthetic foot. She smiled, just a little. She said one word, "Home." The others heard it. They nodded. They kept walking. Forward, always forward, never back. The human war zone was living hell. One alien witness reveals all. Vren Thalor had now spent 12 days in Sector 7. His shroud field flickered more often from power drain. The recorder drone showed small warning lights. He ignored them. He could not leave yet. Not while the last humans still breathed in the bunkers. Emily Ruiz lay on a stretcher made from 2 rifles and a torn coat. Her left leg was wrapped in dirty bandages. The plasma burn went deep into muscle. She could not walk. Pain came in waves. She clenched her teeth each time it hit. Laura Bennett stayed with her. The medic had one working hand left. The other was burned from grabbing a hot barrel days earlier. She changed dressings with slow care. She spoke in quiet tones. "You need rest, Em." Emily gave a weak smile. "Rest is for when we win." Outside the bunker, rain turned to sleet. Ice coated the craters. Wind howled through broken walls. Concord troops circled the position. They did not rush in. They waited. They knew the humans had almost nothing left. Vren watched from a shattered tower nearby. His recorder caught the Concord commander giving orders. The Virene officer spoke calmly. "Starve them out. No need for more losses. They have no food, no ammo, no hope." Vren knew the words were wrong. Hope was not something humans ran out of like bullets. Inside, Emily called the last two able soldiers to her side, Private Carlos Mendoza and Sergeant Kate Larson. Carlos was 24, quiet, from Texas. Kate was 31, strong build from New York. Both looked thinner, eyes hollow. Emily spoke softly. "We have one heavy machine gun, 50 rounds left, 2 pistols, a few knives. That's it." Carlos nodded. "We can make it count." Kate checked the gun. "I'll take first watch." They moved to the firing slits. They waited. Midday brought the first probe. A small Concord squad crept forward under smoke cover. They carried shields and short blades. They wanted to test the defenses. Kate saw them first. She waited until they were close. Then she fired the machine gun in short bursts. Tracers cut through smoke. 2 Virene fell. The rest scattered. The gun clicked empty too soon. Kate cursed quietly. She pulled the pistol from her belt. Emily heard the silence. "Save the pistol for when they breach," she said. They waited again. Afternoon came. Hunger gnawed at them. They had eaten the last ration bar 2 days earlier. Water came from melted sleet collected in helmets. It tasted like metal and ash. Laura gave Emily a sip from her canteen. "You first," Emily said. Laura shook her head. "You're the one bleeding out." They shared it anyway. Vren's recorder picked up their voices clearly. He noted the tone. No panic, no begging. Just acceptance, mixed with stubborn will. As evening fell, Concord sent a loudspeaker drone. It hovered above the bunker. A voice boomed in human language. "Humans of Sector 7, your position is hopeless. Surrender now. You will be treated as prisoners under Concord law. Food, medical care, life. Refuse, and we will bury what remains under this ridge." Silence followed. Emily looked at her people. "Anyone want to wave a white flag?" No one moved. "Good," she said. "Then we wait for dark." Night came cold and black. No stars, just low clouds and falling sleet. Concord launched the real attack at midnight. They used night vision gear. They moved in 3 teams, one from the front, one from each side. They carried breaching tools and flash charges. The first team reached the main door. They slapped a shaped charge against it. Inside, Kate heard the scrape. "Here they come," she said. She and Carlos took positions near the door. Laura moved Emily to the back corner. She covered her with her own body. The charge blew. The door crumpled inward. Smoke poured in. Concord troops rushed through. Kate fired her pistol. 1 shot. 2. A Virene dropped. Another grabbed her arm. She twisted free. She drove her knife into his side. He fell. Carlos fought hand to hand. He took a blade to the shoulder. He ignored it. He slammed his helmet into a Virene faceplate. Glass cracked. He kept hitting. More aliens poured in. Emily pulled herself up on one elbow. She had 1 pistol left. She aimed carefully. She shot the lead officer through the neck joint. The alien gurgled and fell. The fight lasted 4 minutes. Close, bloody, loud. When it ended, 2 Virene lay dead inside, 3 more outside the breach. The rest pulled back. Kate leaned against the wall. Blood ran down her arm. She breathed hard. Carlos sat on the floor. His shoulder wound bled freely. Emily looked at them. "You okay?" Kate nodded once. Carlos gave a thumbs up. Laura moved between them. She packed wounds. She used the last clean cloth. Outside, Concord regrouped. They did not charge again right away. They brought up lights. Bright beams lit the bunker from all sides. No shadows left to hide in. Vren watched the lights turn the sleet into silver needles. He sent another report. Day 12. Bunker defenders repelled night assault with 0 ammunition reserves. Casualties inflicted despite overwhelming disadvantage. No surrender broadcast received. Unit combat effectiveness near 0. Will to fight unchanged. He added privately, "They are starving, freezing, bleeding, and still they fight. I begin to question if Concord victory here has meaning." Dawn came gray and slow. Concord sent one last message. "Final offer. Surrender in the next hour or face extermination." Emily heard it through the broken door. She looked at Laura. "Help me stand." Laura hesitated. Emily insisted. Laura helped her up. Emily leaned on the wall. Her bad leg dragged. She faced the open breach. She raised her voice. It cracked at first, then grew steady. "This is Corporal Emily Ruiz. We heard your offer. Our answer is no. Come in if you want it. We'll be waiting." She slid back down the wall. The others looked at her. Kate smiled faintly. Nice speech. Emily shrugged. Seemed right. Concord did not wait long. They sent their elite shock troops, armored, fast, armed with energy blades and shock rifles. They stormed the breach in a wave. This time there was no retreat space. Kate met the first one at the door. She took a shock blast to the chest. She fell but grabbed the alien's leg. She pulled him down. She stabbed upward. Carlos fought 2 at once. He blocked one blade with his rifle. The barrel bent. He used the stock as a club. He cracked a helmet. Then another shock hit him. He dropped. Laura stood in front of Emily. She held a broken pipe like a spear. The Virene hesitated for 1 second. Then they advanced. Emily raised her pistol with shaking hands. She had 1 round left. She aimed at the lead alien. She pulled the trigger. The shot hit true. The alien fell. The others rushed past. Laura swung the pipe. She hit one in the knee. He stumbled. They took her down fast. Emily watched it happen. She tried to crawl forward. Her leg would not move right. He raised his blade. Then a voice came from outside. "Hold." The troops froze. A Concord officer stepped through the breach. He looked at the scene. Bodies everywhere. Blood on walls. 4 humans still breathing. Barely. He spoke into his comm. "Command, this is Alpha Leader. Bunker secured. 4 survivors. All critically wounded. No resistance possible." He looked down at Emily. "You fought well." Emily met his eyes. "We're not done." The officer paused. Then he gave an order. "Medics, get them out. Stabilize. No executions." Vren watched as humans were carried on stretchers. Emily, Laura, Kate, Carlos. All alive. Barely. Concord troops secured the position. They planted their flags. But Vren knew the truth. The ridge had fallen, yet the humans had not broken. He followed the stretchers at a distance. His shroud flickered one last time. He whispered to his recorder. They lost the ground. They kept their spirit. In this hell, that may be the only victory left. He turned away from Sector 7. He had seen enough.